Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. So my topic today is about Islam. What is the meaning of Islam, and how the world is coming about being Muslim gradually, with monotheism taking roots and people realizing that there's a law structure for us. So that is what Islam is in its essence: to submit to one God and to understand that there's a law structure that you have to submit to as well. So that's what comprises of a Muslim, one who submits. So a Muslim literally is one who submits, and that is the religion called Islam, of one who submits himself to the will of God and to the laws of God and to the command of God, that there's one God only. It's in Surah Anbiya, chapter 21, verse 107 and 108. And we have not sent thee but as a mercy to the nations, referring to Prophet Muhammad. Say, it is revealed to me that your God is one God. Will you then submit? Muslimun. Fahal anta Muslimun. Will you not submit? Or will you not be a Muslim, submitting to the fact that your God is one God? So this is in essence the core belief of a Muslim, and it is also considered to be the first edict for a Muslim. It's also the first edict for the Bani Israel people, and many Christians understand that this law is there for them as well in the Bible. The first edict is that you do not take a God besides me, and your God is one God. So people of the world are realizing that the Quran is true, and that the religion that was given to Muhammad was the true religion, and there were changes in their religion, and gradually they will understand that to adopt the Quran and the laws of the Quran are essential for them. So Prophet Muhammad was a Muslim, and he was commanded to be the first of the Muslims. And this is in chapter 6, where he says that, as for me, my Lord has guided, say, as for me, my Lord has guided me to the right path, a right religion, the faith of Abraham, the upright one, and he was not of the polytheists. Say, my prayer and my sacrifice and my life and my death are surely for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this I am commanded, and I am the first of those who submit. So the best submitter or the best Muslim is Prophet Muhammad. In the Quran, this is the message that is given to us. It is not Jesus, it is not Abraham, it is not myself, it is not any other person, but the Quran, according to the Quran, it is Prophet Muhammad who is asked to say this, that he is the first of those who submit. And just remember that Abraham was a submitter to a great submitter and a monotheist who learned about one God issues and taught it to his progeny, and it became the law on them. So you are for Abrahamic faiths in the Christian world and the Jewish world, and you have one God. And that is something that you have to realize, that that law structure can't be changed. For a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, we're all Abrahamic faiths, and Abraham was not a polytheist. And Christianity, with the Trinity concept, has polytheism in it. So we have to understand that monotheism is our roots, and it is our edict as well. And Abraham was an upright man, and he was not a polytheist. The Quran says in Surah Imran, chapter 3, verse 67, Abraham was not a Jew nor a Christian, but he was an upright man, a Muslim, and he was not one of the polytheists. So the word Muslim has been named for Abraham up there. So Muslims are there from time immemorial, and Adam was a Muslim. All the prophets were Muslims, and Adam gave the law structure to people, humanity, and made the laws of God incumbent upon them. And that's when prophethood started occurring 500,000 years ago or so. And he brought the marriage into work. Before that, people used to roam and bed and create children, but he created the marriage law for man, and many other laws were given. And then these were reissued by the prophets over the periods of times, and the final law was with Muhammad. And Muhammad is just the last of the messengers and the last of the prophets. And he has the Quran. And with the Quran being there, there's no need for any other book now. It has been preserved more or less intact. There are some issues that are relatively minor, but the message of the Quran is intact. And this is the book that you keep with you. This is the message that has been preserved better than any other book. And there have been changes in the Old Testament, not so much in the Old Testament, but in the New Testament, there have been significant changes. And teachings of Paul have come into play into the Bible of the New Testament. So Noah has been called a Muslim in the Quran, and I'll take it out and just read it to you briefly. That Noah, talking to his people, said, "But if you turn back, I ask for no reward from you. My reward is with Allah, and I'm commanded to be of those who submit." Minal Muslimin. So Noah and all the prophets were Muslims, and they were submitters to one God, and they were submitters to the commands of God. They obeyed the commands of God, or the law structure of God. And that is what is necessary for mankind, that they have to obey the law of God. And the people of Jesus have been called Muslims in the Quran, and the people of Moses have been called Muslims in the Quran, and the people and the children of Jacob have been called Muslims in the Quran, and the tribes have been called Muslims, and so forth. It is a common term for one who believes in monotheism and who also believes in submission to God. And a Muslim is one who submits. That is the literal translation of a Muslim, and Islam is to submit. So Moses said in chapter 10, "O my people, if you believe in Allah, then rely on Him if you submit, in kuntum muslimin." They said, "On Allah we rely." So they said they were Muslims, they rely on Allah. So one who relies on Allah is a Muslim as well, and who follows the command and who is a monotheist. So the people of Jesus and Moses were Muslims, and it is here clear that the Jews are also Muslims if they if they submit to the law structure of their books, and the disciples have been in two places been called Muslims in the Quran. And in verse 52 in Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, it says that, "And when Jesus perceived disbelief on their part, he said, 'Who will be my helpers in Allah's way?' The disciples said, 'We are Allah's helpers. We believe in Allah, and bear thou witness, we are the submitting ones. We are na Muslimun.'" So it is there that the people of Jesus, the disciples, were Muslims. They obeyed the law structure, and it was a later construct that came about that they started calling Jesus God, and lost their Muslim state. They were not true submitters if they're not believers in one God, and polytheism did creep into them. Their Aqidah or their edict is one God, but it is a very muddied issue, and if you call Jesus God, then obviously you're not a true Muslim or a true submitter. And there has to be this understanding that you can only be a Muslim if you believe in monotheism, like Abraham and Prophet Muhammad and the Muslim believers. and the Jews, and so for the people of any nation is called a Muslim. And it says in the Quran, in Surah Baqarah, chapter 2, that anybody or any nation can become a Muslim if they submit entirely to Allah. And in verse 111 it says, and they say, none shall enter the garden except he who is a Jew or the Christians. These are their vain desires. Say, bring proof if you are truthful. Nay, whoever submits entirely to Allah or and Aslam, which is the same root as Muslim, and he is a doer of good to others, he has a reward from his Lord, and there is no fear for such, nor will they grieve. So, to believe and to submit to God is not enough to get you to heaven. You have to also be good. And you have to be good to others, and that is key, that you have to be good to others, and you have to be upright in your testimony, and you have to obey the Quran. And if a Jew is not upright in testimony, when obviously Prophet Muhammad brought monotheism and a religion that was clear to them of submission to God like they had, but they consider him to be a devil or a false prophet, then they're not true Muslims. And because you have to submit to and to be truthful in testimony, that's what the Quran asks for you. So Jesus and Mary are likewise. If they do not submit that they were pious people and Jesus was Messiah to them, then they're not true Muslims as well. And they will not have heaven if they deny the truth when they know better, and they deny the truth. And that goes for a Muslim as well. If he takes the saints to be non-Muslims, then he too or they too will not be able to enter paradise. You have to be good, and you have to be truthful in testimony as well. So the children of Jacob have been called Muslims as well. In chapter 2, verse 133, or were you witnesses when death visited Jacob, and he said to his sons, what will you serve after me? They said, we will serve thy God and the God of thy fathers, Abraham, Ismail, and Isaac, one God only, and to him do we submit. Lahu Muslimun. So the children of Jacob are also Muslims. So Muslims is one who submits. And any person in the world, whatever their religion, if they submit to one God and they obey the commands of God that are in the Quran and the Old Testament Psalm, and in their religions also, they also have the law structure of God to them, then they are Muslims, and they will enter paradise if they're good people or pious people. And that's the key for a Muslim, that they have to be pious. So in this country, people have become a Muslim because they do believe in one God, and they understand that there's a law structure that Paul abrogated and Jesus did not abrogate, and they're followers of Jesus, and they believe Muhammad is also a true prophet. Most of them do. So they have become Muslim, and they have Muslim hearts, and a lot of them pray with the Muslims, the Fatiha and so forth. So they are with us in heaven. They have made it to heaven. They have a high intellect, and most of them are becoming good submitters and following the law structure and trying to obey the commands of God, of no sex and piety in their religion. Because you have to do good to enter heaven. It's not enough. A Jew may follow the law and believe in one God, but if he's not good, then he won't enter paradise. You have to be a good person too, or a pious person. So it is in the Quran, in chapter 5, that that religion was perfected at the time of Prophet Muhammad. And the last verse that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad was in Surah Maida, chapter 5, verse 3, I have perfected for you your religion and completed my favor to you and chosen for you Islam as a religion. So submission to God is the religion. Submission to the laws of God and so forth, the religion is made complete that way. And it is in chapter 9, verse 33 that it says that they desire to put out the light of Allah with their mouths, and Allah will allow nothing save the perfection of His light, though the disbelievers are averse. So the religion of Islam will be perfected, and that's what the last verse of the Quran says also, that religion was perfected. He it is who has sent His messenger with guidance and the religion of truth. So the Quran talks about Islam as being the religion of truth, that He may make it prevail over all religions, though the polytheists are averse. So Islam has a destiny that it will prevail over all religions, and that is coming about gradually as the understanding has come about that Islam is one religion for all mankind, and it's the universal religion, to believe in one God and to submit to Him. And that is the love message that I give to you, that this is the universal message for mankind, to submit to the laws of God and be faithful in things and not be disobedient to God. Jazakallah.